Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you for joining IPHatch Hong Kong briefing webinar today. IPHatch Hong Kong is organized by HKTDC and Peace Future with keen support from various partners in Hong Kong. Many of you may not know about IPHatch, so here is a brief introduction. IPHatch is an open innovation challenge, inviting startups and SMEs to bring business concepts to fruition by commercializing IPs of renowned technology leaders. In this webinar, we will have Ms. Ina Chen to give us a presentation on how to fundraise right. Ina is the principal at Sotogen Ventures. She built partnerships with notable universities and ecosystems across Canada and Asia to support the global expansion of startups. Also, she is specialized in cross-border financing structuring and helps companies to localize operations in Asia. Ina's previous working and academic backgrounds covers the fields of entrepreneurship, banking, accounting, and legal in intellectual property. After Ina's presentation, we will have Jason Low, CEO and founder of Peace Future, to share details of IPHatch Hong Kong. Jason has more than 20 years of experience in startup and IPC. Also, we will have our past IPHatch winner, Stephen Chang, to share his entrepreneurial experience and tips for winning the challenge. Last but not least, Jason will pick up a couple of patent portfolios on offer to explain and share insights on the possible commercial usage. Please feel free to raise any questions that you have in the chat box, and we will answer them during the Q&A session. Without further ado, let's welcome Ina to give us a presentation. Ina, please.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, I'm Ina here from Sotogen Ventures. So let me share the screen first. Okay, so all of you can see the screen, right? So today I'm going to talk about like how to fundraise right. So we only got like around 20 minutes, so I wouldn't be able to cover all of it. But I was hoping to, be able to talk about some of the gist of fundraising. So I assume that it is an advanced class since a lot of you here are, incubating from an IP, which means it's a very early stage of your company. So it's basically is a 101 an overview of, how to do fundraising. And about myself, I'm basically, working in venture capital. So we invest in a lot of IP-based startups, so including nanotechnology, biotech. And the robot that you see here is one of the startups that, we invest in called Sentry AI in Canada. And, the robot alone has a lot of IP itself generated as well. And then on the side, I build female communities called Women in Work. So that was our logo. And then on my pastime, I do a lot of startup and VC coaching and consultancy work, including, all the way from fund structuring, mentoring, and then, from building a VC to building a company here. So about investment or about fundraising, actually, like from founder's perspective, from your perspective, like there is only one thing that really actually matters that make your fundraise succeed. That is momentum. Like you see a lot of startups like struggle in fundraising, and then some are able to raise like a huge amount in a very short time, and some struggle 1 year, 2 years, and still can't not be able to raise. I would say it's really the momentum that matters. So what is momentum? Momentum, to create that, it's actually before the momentum, you have to do a lot of preparation. Warm calling, cold calling, introductions, and then warming everybody up, and then to prepare it. So the preparation time could take like more than a half year. So at least 6 months long. Or as early as the day that you have an idea, you can start warming people up. So this is the way that we say about preparation. And then once you are fully prepared, then you go into fundraise. And then the moment that you go into fundraise, you're basically announcing in the ecosystem, to your friends, to your families, to your partners, to people in the ecosystem, to telling them that, hey, I'm here to raise fund. And then, this is how much I'm going to lead. This is, what my company do. And then at the end, to see if there is any potential investor would invest in you. So that is the momentum. And why momentum is so important is because just imagine a case. If you were an investor and then there is a startup coming to you and then, the startup say, hey, we are raising 200K USD today. And then a year later, he's still raising the same amount of money. That means in that past year, no one actually invests in the company. And, he couldn't really able to get any investor. There could be a lot of reasons, but it basically shows that, it basically make people losing their confidence. So gathering momentum is really important. But more importantly, is the preparation beforehand that we can do to help, to help your fundraising. So today is really more about the preparation work that you could have done. So I'm gonna flip through a lot of it, and then you can probably mark down some, important keywords so that later on you can, search online or go on to dig into the topics and to further prepare. So, before we start, I'm not sure if everyone here know what is cap table, capitalization table. So in my eyes, constructing your cap table is really important. So, there is, investment itself is a diluting capital. Diluting capital means like $1 into your company, you hold less shareholding after that investment. So you basically own less of the company after someone is investing into your company. So you're basically selling your shareholder in exchange for money. And capitalization table is super important, as in, you are the one who are in control of your company, and you should be the one that maintain in control of the company. And then, all the people that on the cap table who are sharing this pie, investors, they will have to be synergistic with you. So what we want smart money. We want smart money. We want, we want synergistic investor to work together with us, so that we know that they could help us along the way. Because once you're on the cap table, the only way that you could kick them out or reverse this is by buying them out. So constructing the cap table, finding the right partner onto your cap table, onto your shareholder list is very important. So make sure that you have a plan for it. And sometimes, like, our most favorable question to ask people is basically like, how do you plan to construct your cap table? Because, for example, if you're a Hong Kong company, if you are a Europe company, UK company, or if you are a Canadian company, sometimes you usually just focus on the local, which you don't have long-term planning into bringing in international investor, into, bring in other players to basically help you develop along the way. Because building a company is never one man's job. So it's a teamwork. So basically what we like to ask, or what we like to see, is a very diversified and then well-planned cap table in the long run. So how do you do that? Like, it's at the very beginning, like, we balance our funding sources. So funding sources, as you can see, like, there are, revenue, grants, and investment. It's very easy and obvious to see, right? But a lot of the times, like, startups forgot to, find investment in the right time, but only focus on growing revenue, which is good. But, sometimes investment could help you grow faster. And some of the other times, you only focus on investment while you forgot the revenue part, which you basically just burning money and without a solid business model. And then at the end of the day, like, if you are R&D or IP-based startup, it's a big chance that you could get grants. So grants may take time to apply, but it's also very important for you to choose a strategic location, strategic base. For example, like, some government are giving out attractive grants because you are a research and development based startup or in the industry that they are focused on. So basically, grants is also very important in some sense. To just give I'm assuming all of you here that doesn't know, fundraising very well. So to just give an overview of, the funding stages, when you're in early stage, like now, say C to Series A, you're always mostly looking at angel and venture capital. Later on, you look for private equity fund. And then at the end, or throughout the way, when you develop a little bit more into the industry, you might look for corporate venture fund. So they are all a little bit different. So, just quickly guide you through the different types of investor and where could you find it. So the way that I construct my slides is actually based on the questions that people asked me back then. So every time when I talk about fundraising, I could talk about a lot of grand theories and stuff, but every single time at the end of the day, people are just going to ask me so where to find investor, how to find investor. So, but at the very beginning, you have to be able to differentiate the investor. So in Chinese, there is a saying that, know the enemy so that you can plan well. And they're not your enemy, but know the partner. They could actually also help you plan well. So angel investor are basically someone who with family wealth, and then, they're senior in corporates, they are probably retired, and they're usually inside the ecosystem if they're interested to invest. So the only way that you could find them is basically go to a lot of networking, build personal relationships with them. So it's easy to understand, right? But then later on, a lot of people don't understand is the difference between, angel investor and VC, because VC is basically here to specialize to make investment return. So they're different from angel investor. They're different from family offices. So VC basically, we see more than 1,000 deals a year. So how to win their heart or how to win their attention is basically, the job that you would need to do. It's really gaining their attention into your company. And at the end of the day, you have the attention. And then if your portfolio fit their investment strategy, you can pass through all these stages until due diligence. And at the end of the day, you could make a deal with them. So what does it mean by, VC specializes to make return? So every VC like ourselves, we basically construct themes. So we all have themes to, into the market, no matter macro market or geographical market or vertical market industries. So we basically have our view on the macro side, macro trend, and then we pick what we think would really be the market trend going on, say for the next 5 to 10 years, that would be able to bring the money that we invest into you on day one to 10x, 20x, 100x in day, say 1,000, 3 years later. So this is basically what does the VC do? So it's impossible. So for example, when you invest in some investment product, it's impossible to invest in something that, very generic, right? Even if you're buying S&P 500, you're buying into US economy. So VC is the same. So when LP invest in the VC, they basically buy into the investment thesis or investment theory. So here we go then, as a founder, what you need to do is basically understanding the VC's theory or the VC's thesis, what we call investment thesis. So if it's not a fit, then just don't waste your time into pitching them because, you can treat it as practice, but at the end of the day, it won't lead you to close the deal. So there are AI-based company, there are, Web3 based VC fund. There are, nanotech, health tech focused fund like ours. So it's really very different. And also another part is, who are you talking to? Are you talking to the decision-making people or are you talking to the analysts or associates that sourcing deal? So you have to know what they do in the company because on the right side, you can see the deal-making process actually includes a lot of different stages. So are you in the earliest stage or are you in the later stage? And that's where you can, move along. I've seen a lot of founders actually use a CRM to manage their investor pipeline. So I think that's also a very, very strategic or a very good way to plan your fundraising. So using a CRM to basically talk to record every investor stages and then to move along. So at the end, what does the investor really look at, right? So a lot of the time or a lot of the situation, especially the earliest stage, we look at the founding team. So IP is also very important, but the founding team is actually the one that who make it work, right? So if you doesn't make the company or the business work, the IP is basically you didn't create value from the IP, you didn't multiply the value from the IP to make it a company. So at the end of the day, like in an M&A or in in a buy sell process, your your IP would basically just worth what it is on day one without without multiplying its effect. So what we really see it importantly is the founding team member, is the CEO, CTO, is the founders that who are able to think of the application of the IP and execute it and then bring it to the market to create value out of it. So the founding team is very important, like all the way from its background, different types of investors. Some of the investors like to observe what you do, how you answer questions. Some investors like to, ask you a lot of tough questions and see, do you have a plan for it, or like, have you ever think about it? Some of the investors like to look at your vision. Like, do you have vision? Do you have the charisma of leading a team? So it really depends. But after all, like the people really matter. And the second thing is the market size. So do you actually have a market size that is, that is over USD a billion? So why do I put market size more than USD a billion? It's basically just a benchmark. It's a reference. It's not like there is no right or wrong. It differs from investor to investor. So it's a benchmark that Y Combinator uses as when they're picking startups into their incubation program. So I just put it as a reference. So at least you have some idea of what kind of market size that you should be thinking about. So the application of your technology, like it can have multiple applications, and in the market there are also multiple segments. Like how big of a segment that you're targeting to. You can start niche. You can like start really, really niche. Start with a very specific pain point. But are you able to scale up during the process and have a big enough vision? So is your pain point, is your is your product able to scale? So if you're able to scale across, and making the ultimate market size more than $1 billion US, then it will be an attractive business, right? So this is the market size that we are targeting, say, when you exit, say, in the IPO, right? And then and the third point is basically differentiation or uniqueness. So there it comes, like the most important thing of an R&D based startup or an IP based startup is really your differentiation and uniqueness. So IP itself is already a very good defense, right? But to be honest, like even IP, in the same field, say, AR or VR or computer vision, you can find tons of company doing similar thing and filing similar IP, and in the same field. So there are companies fighting for these IPs, right? You have to fight with big companies for the IP. And sometimes we're not talking about one IP or two IP, we're talking about a whole portfolio, right? How well you protect your technology. So you really have to figure out what's the differentiation on two sides. One, if you have a technology, what's the differentiation of your technology compared to the others, right? And another differentiation that you can think about is your business model, like how well you're solving the customer's pain point. So the user experience, is it the user experience? Is it the price point? Like, is it the is it the process? Like what's really like the differentiation on the commercial side? So that could also fence off your business from your competitors. But then you also have to think, like, is this something that easy for other people to catch up? So this is what we call like defensibility. So what we want to see in the company is basically, a good differentiation with a good defensibility so that they can fence off competitor for a long while. And at the end of the day, it's the deal itself. So the deal itself is really meaning like the valuation, how much are you looking for? And, if I go on, it could be like a really, really long story into every single point here. Especially the deal itself, a lot of people are confused about how to calculate valuation or how much should I sell my shareholding. So at the end of the day, I will put a very kind of vague formula into it. There is really not a benchmark. A lot of people are trying to find a certain value, right? You could have a very professional, valuation firm valuing your IP. You can have a very, big four auditing your company and then developing the valuation. But early stage investors, sometimes when you value the company, there is a lot of invisible elements that is hard to value. So when it comes time to the market value, what I would usually to say is your proof and your potential, right? If the proof point right now, so I am going into a market and then, this is my vision of being, number one in the market, doing, say, computer vision. And the proof is, what is the proof? The proof is actually like what we call traction. So how much traction you have, how much proof you have is basically, have you got some clients in your hand? Have you got some pilots? Are you able to demonstrate? So what you've already got, and are you demonstrate that, hey, I am on the way. I'm on the way to being the number one in the market. So that is the proof that you currently have. The more the proof, the higher the valuation, of course. The further you go, the higher the valuation again. And then in terms of the potential, right? The potential is basically, the potential of your company. So how much further you can go, right? If I prove today, I proved a lot, but the potential is so small that the ultimate market size is so small, then, you basically don't really have a lot of potential to go on. So this is what we think, a larger potential will also help increase your valuation. And at the end of the day, the higher valuation, the lower the dilution that you can, you have in your company. That means like you can sell less of your company in exchange for the same amount of dollar. So this is what dilution means. And, here the math is really an art. Like it's not really scientific, but it's an art ultimately. The scientific kind comes to, economics where like demand and supply, right? So it's very basic theory. If you set a valuation that is way too high, then of course like it's gonna be difficult for you to raise, and the dilution is gonna be, it's gonna be very good for you, right? If you have a high valuation, the dilution is gonna be so little, so few. But but it doesn't mean that you can prove the valuation that you are asking for. Or the investor, if they are trying to, push down your valuation, then show more, prove your potential, or prove what you have already done. So this is all sort of a strategy when we were negotiating the valuation and dilution. So really just to, just as a reference here, when we are in seed stage, what we usually looking for is, concept and market proof. At Series A, sometimes most of the time we are looking at revenue and also scalability. And at Series B, I'm really looking for reliable projection. Like you should have already, a few revenue in your pipeline, and you should be able to develop that reliable projection going on to a stable and scalable way. If not, then it's really not there yet, the business. So you can also look at the report to see, how the valuation is growing across the year, and what's the, what's the market benchmark in the market. And it really comes down to your negotiation skills at the end of the day. So at the end, I would really like to advise you guys, say, if you want to execute, the fundraising thing, then just go out early, prepare and ask, because it's going to take at least 3 months. And then look into your near countries, or look into other possible, areas. Don't just stay in your local country unless you're in China or in US, right? So plan your expansion really early, and then get some exposure and PR. So that would help a little bit of your company when you are doing fundraising. And at the end, get the momentum. Like don't really store and don't really store, the whole fundraising process. And, that would help, all of these will help you position yourself on the upside to bargain with an investor. So the runway is also very important. You don't want to put yourself into a situation where your runway is really running out. That means that you only have 1 to 2 months left in your company. And that's where, you are really hanging out there to dry. So basically, fundraising and execution is the best advice is really get out early to prepare. Okay, so, I think our time is nearly there since it's a really, short talk. So to the closing part, if some of you are ready to fundraise and then really want to close the deal, so some negotiation skills would help you. Is that, you can clarify the next step. When you're negotiating contracts, you always do that. You clarify the next step. And then later on, like you probably want to set the timeline. You want to be in control of your timeline to about your deal closing. So when do you want to close your deal? And then, at the end, just differentiate it's a hard commitment or a soft commitment, because it could be tricky and you want hard commitment rather than a soft commitment. You want to get them to sign something. And at the end of the day, so sometimes if you're not sure how you basically ask for the money, you could say like, would it be something that interests you? We're looking for blah, 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 like how much. So this basically clarifies, this basically clarifies your fundraising ask. So this is what we usually do when we are trying to close the deal. So these are all the practices that, we observe from the founder, or, we learn from the other founders, right? The best founders. So thank you very much. This is basically, my 2 cents onto, how to do fundraising right, and hope this, help you on your fundraising journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Ina, for your presentation and valuable sharing. So next, we'll have Jason to share more about the IPHatch Hong Kong.
Thank you, Wang Hang, and thank you very much, Ina, for your fantastic sharing on how startups should actually approach to fundraising and all the key points that they should take note. And definitely, they are very, very useful. I mean, even I looked at them, it's like, hey, this is good information, for us to really take away and then help them to actually get them started, because a lot of startups will say, hey, how did we get started fundraising in the first place? And absolutely right, where do we find the investor? All right, so anyway, thank you, Ina, for that. So the next, I'm the founder of Peace Future, and we've been running IPHatch for a couple of years, and we have been running IPHatch in Asia, in 8 different countries, all right, and now we are, in fact, I'm personally now in UK. We're going to launch IPHatch UK this year, and that's why we're coming here to set up the ecosystem. So I'm going to share my screen and just going to run through and introduce to you what is IPHatch, what have we been doing for startups, and how are the startups doing. And of course, today we are very privileged to get one of our outstanding startups to be here to share about his journey with us. So without further ado, let me share my screen right now and quickly run through the slides, because we do know that we have a pretty short session today. So, okay, I guess everyone can see. Okay, IPHatch basically is an open innovation challenge that we have formulated back many years ago to help startups to work with multinational company by taking some of the technologies that they have and seed it into their business to grow. All right, the key thing is that they have to solve some social issues or create economic impact, and see how they can even grow their business and through the development of technologies that they will have. And we are very much very interested to in so-called develop and grow tech startups. All right. So IPHatch, basically, who can join? All right. If you look at the whole the 3 different description here, you probably fall into one of them. All right. Even if you're a small medium company looking at changing your business, pivoting, whatever you have been doing for years, you're more than welcome to look at how the portfolios that we have can help you your business. All right, if you're an individual thinking of starting up, and some of the technology that we are providing inspire you to do something, that could be something that you look at very closely. And even if you're a startup, all right, you started a while, the team is formed, you guys are very much looking into certain areas, and some of the portfolios just give you a light bulb. I say, hey, this could be great if, let's say, we can have to integrate the technology into our business and making our business more so-called stronger, and then you can use that technology to grow your business. I think those are things that you have to really go through the portfolio carefully. We have many startups that in a few they already started. They find that the technology portfolio that we are give them a very strong foundation on how they're going to develop their technology. Because a lot of startups, when they start, they do not know where to start. They just do everything, and doing everything is quite normal for startup. However, to be strategic is even better. So if you join competition and finally if you win, all right, these are the things that we'll be providing, and I think it's not limited to that. In general, all right, they will be working with the patent portfolio that we'll be offering from the various companies that is in the IPHatch challenge for that year. All right, there will be funding opportunity and network that we'll be providing. We are now spanning across 8 countries. Like I say, we do have VCs in the ecosystem that are looking at startups closely, and actually through our own so-called unique pipeline, they are always monitoring how our startup are developing. Mentorship, business refinement, and all that is a constant thing that we do with our startup. All right, we get on the call with them anytime. Basically, very important to help them along the way, because we are helping early stage startup, very much a pre-A to A, maximum of a Series A kind of companies. They need a lot of help, a lot of pivoting, all right, to make sure that they're in revenue, all right, and that their valuation makes sense. And finally, of course, business is still very important. We help startups to connect to business. All right, we help them to connect within startups. We can help them to actually reach out to new markets. For example, if let's say you are interested in Malaysia, we work with the Malaysian government. In Singapore, we work with the Singapore government. Of course, we have our strong partner HKTDC. They are also very, very helpful when talking about reaching out to other parts of the world. So business network is definitely one of the very important point of IPHatch. All right, because we are very much focused on how technology bridge business and how all this make more impact. And finally, like I say, we are kind of an private incubation program. We help startups to build at their own pace. Of course, not at a super slow pace. We actually will push them when we find time is right. For example, you just started an idea, we'll give you definitely a lot of guidance, to see how you can develop the idea to a viable business. All right, and then we'll move forward from there. All right, so that's what you get. Quickly, IPHatch, this is a video that I would like to play to you, and then you can see what exactly you could expect in the application process. All right, so as you can see from our video, we have a lot of different startups from multiple sectors. All right, so we are sector agnostic. as long as your business idea makes sense, of course, you impress the IP owners and the judges, you definitely have a chance to win the portfolios. So this is the timeline. We are very much going into June right now, almost mid-June, right? You have about 2 weeks to decide. And really encourage you to send your application soon. And of course, we also will be having an IP Hackathon, which is a one-to-one mentorship so-called program that we're going to run next week. All right, so do join that as well if let's say you need some help. If you are already a deck, you know what you want, you have gone through the portfolios that is on our website, all information are on our website. If you have some queries, send us an email. But finally, the application deadline will be 30th of June, so don't miss it. And we will be quickly shortlisting all the participants for the pitch, and that will happen sometime in July. So it's really, really very soon. All right, so this is the QR code, but I believe it's easy. Just go to www.iphatchday.com/Hong Kong. All right, so you go there and get all the information that you need how to join the competition. So with the competition, IPHatch has been running for several years, as I mentioned. We invest in multiple deep tech companies, including what you see on the screen. This is the IoT company that is actually looking at construction technology. We have a wearable technology called Moon Technologies, looking at AR world, all right, using smart glasses. They have a unique technology that they built on top of the Panasonic technology that they got. All right, and right now they are able even to actually get a lot of different attention from the healthcare industry as a first start. All right, and then they're moving forward to other sectors eventually. In Hong Kong, we also have other exciting startups like in the health, so-called wellness space. Dressio, they took patents from Nokia and integrating into their system and developing very closely on how to recognize movements of the users and come up with many different innovative applications. All right, and they're working with very big companies right now to roll out their products. Very exciting times for us because a lot of startups are growing at a very, very nice stage right now. And finally, and we also we are very honored to get him to be on time on the air today because he's very busy. Dragonfly X, all right, very, very exciting concept. He definitely impressed both Panasonic and Nokia on his concept, and he has a big vision. And I would like him to share more about what is Dragonfly X in just right now. All right, so maybe let's get into the fire chat because we don't have much time, and let's get Stephen on stage.
Hello, and thank you, Jason. Very warm introduction.
No problem. Hi, Stephen. I mean, it's good to see you online again, and definitely, I think many people are very excited. Once they seen your, the image, all right, of Dragonfly X, what you guys are doing. Why don't you give a brief introduction of yourself and what business are you into?
Yeah, so basically, Dragonfly X is a hydrogen air taxi service. But imagine from Shenzhen to Hong Kong or from Singapore to JB, you can just jump on a air taxi for 500 Hong Kong dollars. And this is through this competition, this has really speed up our R&D process. So basically, we're building a hydrogen infrastructure and drone. And what we've got is an IP patent from Panasonic and Nokia to track the location of our drone and also find the safest airways to fly our hydrogen helicopters around. And to keep it in short, so basically we're a deep tech company that focus on the PMFC, so a hydrogen stack, a system that's for the air taxi service. You might have seen us a lot on the press already from Tuen Mun to Central in 8 minutes. So this is in brief of who Dragonfly X is.
Awesome. All right. I think the next question is they will say, when are you coming to market? Because that will be very exciting because you can cut down so much traveling time, right? So anyhow, just maybe, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, we're going to market in 2025, but we're looking to do a trial end of this year here in Hong Kong in partnership with government authorities. But with the technology we have from Panasonic and Nokia, we aim to commercialize part of the system because it could be used in helicopters, in vehicles, in fleet cars. So we will aim to go to market end of this year.
Awesome. Maybe just because we have a lot of audience here thinking of joining IPHatch, maybe just can you share why in the first place did you join IPHatch? What is the main motivation for you to actually join?
I think IPHatch is very different to other incubation programs. So I can just get on my phone and be on a speed dial and send Jason a WhatsApp message. Oh, this is what I need help on, whether fundraising to business development. You cannot do that in any of the program around the world. It's very rare you can access a portfolio of IP. So for example, we're discussing hydrogen technologies, and maybe we can access various IPs within IPHatch portfolio for a discounted rate or other arrangement. It's very rare in any of the incubation program you can go in and access those IPs developed by top technologies company. But also, once you've developed a product from those technologies, you're able to build a valuation of your company and momentum for your startup very, very quickly because it adds credibility.
Awesome. I mean, I think just now you also mentioned about what you have actually gotten from Nokia and Panasonic, right? How do you, I mean, maybe you want to explain a little bit more, how does the technology exactly, help your business and how are you growing them?
Well, for us, we basically skip about 9 months of development timeline from our hardware R&D because we're able to track the drone, but also safely navigate various airspace through obstacles, whether birds or buildings that's already known, or even weather obstacles through the smart tracking system that Nokia and Panasonic gave us. So it saved us a lot of money in terms of development because it's already proven, and we can also use that patent to commercialize and use it other sector as well. So for example, buses, taxis. There are other companies that are interested in looking at our product that unfortunately I cannot discuss at the moment due to the NDA. But the main thing is we need to think about a viable business model that we can use, because there's no point holding an IP and not developing it. So make sure the most important thing is finding the right team and have a viable business idea to make sure that the IP support the core business, and that's the first thing we looked at. What kind of IP are there in the library, and we went straight for the Nokia and Panasonic. And second is support, because this IP originator, they have a huge portfolio of IP. I mean, it's tens of thousands of IP that you can easily access. Once we've got the investment and through Jason's advice and mentoring, the last mentoring meeting we had over Zoom, and you were telling me how I can access various investment VCs, but also how to build the valuation of the company. So it's not simply about the technology of the business side, but the other supports that come with this IPHatch competition that's made us apply for this competition.
Thank you. I mean, Stephen, I mean, I'm really appreciate that you actually, look into all the points that we do for you. In fact, we are very happy to help startups, all right? Especially startups that they themselves are very, very driven. I think we are excited to see such people, and definitely you're one of them. And not just, through our help, and I believe, through our business network, and I believe HKBDC, could have given you a lot of super support. And we hope to help you in any way, all right? In any way means that actually is beneficial to your business. In fact, as just now you're saying, all right, yes, there is a lot of development in the hydrogen space, especially right now in different market, different countries. And I'm excited to tell you, like I said, now I'm in the UK, right? So there's some new developments that I observed, and there are some investors looking for alternative energy. which I'm going to speak to you shortly in another session. Yeah. So very, very exciting times ahead of us. And I think definitely your business is very, very going to be very exciting for the whole transportation industry. So, I mean, having said that, since you're a winner of IPHatch and you have been with us for a while, any advice or tips that you want to give to those who wants to join this year's competition?
I think you have to be realistic about the business model and the team. I mean, with any startup, any business idea, the biggest obstacle to build a successful business is yourself, because you have a lot. You need to manage your time, the resources, the money involved. So try to build a team and get as much support as possible from family, friends, university, network. I'm quite new to Hong Kong, so I moved to Hong Kong 2 years ago from the UK. So I don't have a lot of friends and network, and luckily I managed to win the IPHatch competition, and through that I was able to get a lot of support. Even though Jason is based in Singapore, but we also have Clara as well from HATDC who are able to access her from email and telephone all the time. So, I mean, going back to applying the application, I mean, looking at our first pitch deck, it was absolutely rubbish. And then you gave us some mentoring during the application process. So we were able to win the competition through pitching to you guys before winning the competition. So I would suggest make sure you show your pitch deck around and you know what is the brief. So what is the IP and patent that you're applying for before you're applying. And have a very clear strategy of how are you going to use those patents, and have a realistic timeline and roadmap. How are you going to execute those, and what kind of resources you're lacking, so that you can tell your mentors such as Jason what you need, either talent, resources, or funding, and so that other people are able to help you in this journey.
Awesome comments. I mean, definitely very good advice to all the different startups that may be joining our competition. And I think you highlighted a very important point. I mean, yes, we do have this free IPHatchathon that actually we held for all the startups to come and have a feel of what is IPHatch. And during the session, we'll be explaining to them about the competition as well, but we will at the same time help them to take their business model and then give and we actually do a 1-round selection during the IPHatchathon, where we will speed track you to the finals if, let's say, we think that you have a good business model at the end of the hackathon event. All right. And Stephen, of course, you did it. All right. And it was fun talking to you during that time, when I still remember we are doing through Zoom, right? Even right now. I think the COVID has changed a lot of mode of operations, but because of that, we are able to deliver more, because else we will be like spending more one-to-one time, and I think we did it quite efficiently, and very happy to actually help you to tweak your business model during that session. And I think you are continually tweaking your model, because I hear new things again. All right. So that is very, very frequent. I think for all startups, pivoting is always part of the DNA. All right. And I want to encourage everyone to do that. Stephen, thank you so much for your time today. All right. I have a lot to catch up with you again. All right. After my UK trip, and I will be contacting you through WhatsApp.
Thank you so and much. Good luck to all the applicants.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to share back my screen to the PowerPoint. So you guys hear from Stephen, all right, which is very, very, he has a lot of inspiring thoughts. He has a strong team, like what Ina has said. So if you guys are really going to set up your own startup, or you are forming your own startup, look up for all the points and tips that they actually have mentioned. All right. So just watch, there are some message from the IP owner, so I like to actually just play this video to actually let you hear what they want to tell you. But just in case the audio is not in, just let me reshare that again, because yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, all right.
Hello everyone. Nokia is happy to be associated with IPHatch. IPHatch is a unique approach to help startups with their journey to the IP world. Too often the patenting is started when it's already too late to modify the implementation for a good patent. Therefore, within the IPHatch process, if the match is made between available patents and your business idea, the approach to build your business on already granted patents is the easiest way to initiate your journey to patenting. I'm sure that the patent originated from Nokia will level up your company from competitors when you are discussing with potential investors, partners, clients, government agencies, and so on. It will be a cornerstone to build your credibility in any negotiation. I wish you inspiring session with the Peace Futures professionals. I'm sure that the participation to the competition process will further enhance your understanding on patenting and what it means to your business. Welcome to join IPHatch community and good luck.
Welcome to IPHatch. Panasonic has been participating in IPHatch since 2017 to utilize Panasonic's wide range of technology through open innovation. In IPHatch, startups are not only able to acquire advanced technologies from major corporations or organizations, but also are able to promote its business development while eliminating lengthy arrangements as seen often in the usual collaboration cases because of IPHatch's well-established scheme. In the past IPHatch, we connected with many promising startups across the borders. In this challenging era, we hope that we can be connected with many passionate startups so that our technology will be utilized to resolve the social issues in the world. We are looking forward to your application.
All right, as you can hear from the IP owners, they are very, very keen to help startups, and they have been doing so for many years. And recently, actually over the last few years, we have a lot of developments between the startups and the MNC themselves, how they're collaborating together, how they're piloting projects together, and even introducing business that's relevant to the startups. So very exciting times ahead for all of us, of all the startups that we have in the IPHatch portfolio. So here you see on the screen, we have the Sapphire portfolio. So how does it work? All right. So we have grouped our portfolios into 3 groups. We have Sapphire, we have Ruby, and we also have a licensing portfolio actually is from the City University on how you actually can work with them. So you go through a selection process, go through deeply each of this portfolio in Sapphire or Ruby, and try to select the ones that are relevant to you. All these patterns has been specially so-called valued and also at the same time selected to make viable business that we find that is in trend to the market. All right, we don't take out patterns that are not useful. So all these patterns will somehow be relevant to someone or some kind of business. And in the Sapphire portfolio, we have 8 of them. All right, go through each of the portfolio carefully. If you can't find anything, all right, the good news is that you can still choose portfolio X. In that aspect, we will need you to send your information about your company, your tag, what you're doing, and then we can try to see what we can match for you. In the Ruby portfolio, these patterns are as good as those in Sapphire. Okay, what's the difference? The only difference is the size of the portfolio. All right, we give startup a chance to choose a Sapphire and followed by a Ruby so that they can have multiple chance of actually winning the portfolio of their desire. All right, and then we will see whether they can take it on or not. You can see that from the topics we have bionic arm. Come on, it's really very, very state of art. It's the new state of wearables. We're talking about healthcare. If you look into the pattern itself, which later I'll be explaining, you'll see that it's very, very unique. And these are all very good technologies that Nokia and Panasonic has, and they're actually trying to bring out to have more impact to the world. Last of all, once you select the portfolio from Sapphire or Ruby, you can add on a CTU portfolio that actually complements your business as well. And you can take it further. If they say select you, then you can take it further to discuss with them on how they want to work with you closely. And it is definitely going to be very helpful for you as a startup. All right. So just let me dive into a few things in detail. So whatever you see on the screen right now is actually online. All right. It's on our website, absolutely the same. Just like 3D World. This is a pattern that we grouped from Nokia and Panasonic, each of them looking into the aspect of the audio-visual space, but very much into 3D. All right, and we know all that the metaverse is going on, very hot topic. Yes, there's some kind of a so-called setback in the crypto space, but that doesn't mean anything, because if you believe whether Web 3.0 we're going to be staying in some form or other, well, I always believe technology will always evolve and things will get ready for commercialization. And if you are in this space, this is something that you can look at closely, all right, looking at the graphics and the video aspect. Sense and Track, I mean, absolutely very relevant in current times. A lot of different technology out there that is actually already available, all right, for you to integrate. And these patterns from Panasonic and Nokia, they are all core technology. What does it mean by core technology? It means that you can take this technology and use it as your foundational IP, all right, and build on top of them, all right. And it is absolutely true. You need to build your technology based on your business. When you take these technologies from Panasonic and Nokia, it gives you a very strong foundational seed. You grow from there. Of course, the Peace Future team will be helping you along the way to help you to grow the business as well as your technology road mapping from these patterns. All right, so use this as a foundational seed so that you can grow it well, just like what Stephen says, all right, in his business, on how he actually tied it very closely to his business, so that when he develop his technology, he knows what exactly the new IPs that you get, and therefore will translate to better valuation, better direction, and stronger potential business success. All right, that is very key, because we feel that in Asia, especially, all right, the element of patenting and all that is not so strong. All right, if you look at the West, a lot of those small companies, all right, become huge company over a span of time, but they have to start from somewhere. And therefore, IPHatch is here to help you, right, with the portfolios. Okay, let's move on to Ruby, right? I've talked so much about Sapphire portfolio. So in the Sapphire portfolio, just before I go to Ruby, Portfolio X is something that we help start up in a way, because there may be some brilliant ideas which we always see. They may have something that may not be able to use in any of the portfolios that we presented. We will help them to match something that is relevant. Of course, there will be some terms and conditions in terms of fairness. We need a few more startups that come forward to have the same feel. Then we'll bring out new portfolios to support them. All right. So don't worry if you cannot find anything. Choose Portfolio X and send in your information. So Ruby, as I say, is as good as Sapphire, right? So for example, Bionic Arm, if you're in this space, all right, healthcare, be it business, all right, doesn't mean that this Bionic Arm need to be in healthcare. All right, you can use it in whichever ways. All right, you can use it for work support. Right now we're talking about wearables, right? It can be some gadgets that you actually build, right, for assisting work, everything. A lot of time, the startup, they go evaluate the pattern. They actually wow us with their ideas. Don't let whatever that we put here as an example to restrict your imagination. You will come out with even better ideas than what we have said, because we are not here to give ideas. We are here to tell you that this is a good piece of technology that you could utilize and make more impact for the world, right? And the word is impact. And I encourage every one of you to really seriously look at that. Okay, so with that, the city universities portfolio are also very interesting. For example, if let's say you are in the in this so-called content space, they even have technology to alter emotions, all right, on pictures and all that. So thinking what you could do with them is a phenomenon, because depend on how you want to utilize the technology further. You can add on this after you select our Sapphire and Ruby portfolio, and then bring on to the next stage. All right. So with that, I think I just want to go through this video on how you should select the portfolio, and then we will take on some Q&A. So if you have question right now, put in the Q&A immediately, all right? And then we will try to answer you at the end of this video. Okay, that's the application process. There's an IPHatch that we actually are holding to next week. All right, take note of this because the vacancy is limited. All right, do send in your application as soon as possible because it fills up quite fast. Right, we have been marketing this for a couple of weeks, so do send in your if you want. Right, just quickly send in that you want to actually secure a seat. Right, because it's a very good session. It's free. You have mentors telling you what's good and what's wrong about your business model, and if you need help in the IP analytics and all that, in how to choose the portfolios, we'll be there to help you. And of course, participant has chance to fast track to the finals, means that we will select them for final pitching on the IPHatch event itself. All right. So with that, I finish my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And like right now, let me see whether there's any questions from the floor. All right. If you have, please quickly type in the chat or the Q&A. Just going to hang around for a while. If there is no, then of course, probably I have done a great job. Everybody seems to understand it very well, which is good. All right. Go to our website, have a look. There's a lot of information online, including past events. Where are we? Like I say, we are in 8 different cities. It's going to be very, very exciting for all the people who is going to join us, because there's a lot of opportunity you can tap on to go to many different new markets, including like where am I now? All right, UK. I think I got a question from Kelvin. Say where do I search for IP for your consideration? You can go to our website, right? www.iphatchday.com. All right, just go to the Hong Kong tab, all right, and select portfolios. All the 13 portfolios that just now I've gone through are all online. You can click on them. There will be further information. You can click on those URL links as well. All right, you have further question, you can send us a question, so-called an email to our company email. Okay. Is there any other question? Okay, if not, thank you very much. I'll hand it back to Wang Hang.
Thank you, Jason, and also Stephen, for your precious time and sharing. And thank you all for joining us. We have come to the end of today's session. Hope all of you have a great afternoon. Stay tuned for more updates for our upcoming webinar series with HKTDC. See you next time. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.